Welcome to Hello Tomorrow. Hello Tomorrow is a podcast where we introduce remarkable individuals and their work to the world. A new episode will be available every fortnight on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major platforms. Now, over to Subhash.
Hello Tomorrow is all about introducing remarkable individuals and share their knowledge with the world. If you would like to support the podcast, you can donate on Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/hello tomorrow or on Patreon at patreon.com/hello tomorrow. We thank you for your support in advance.
Hi, this is the second episode of the Discovery series. In this episode, we will be speaking to Taarini Tainwala. Taarini is the founder and pastry chef at Mon A Patisserie. Taarini, we welcome you to the show.
Can you give us a quick introduction about yourself, your education, and what you are up to right now?
Hi everyone, I'm Taarini and I'm the founder, as Subhash said, of Mon A Patisserie. It is now a 2-year-old brand, a baby, I would say my baby. And I started slow. It is a cloud kitchen. So I'm 22 years old. And before starting this cloud kitchen, I pursued a diploma in patisserie from Le Cordon Bleu, London. And I got back to India in 2018, interned with a couple of restaurants and kitchens here in India, including Konsu, which was where I learned the most. And I think it was that journey of mine which motivated and inspired me into launching my own brand, and also COVID, which happened. And I was sitting at home doing nothing, just trying recipes, making my family and friends try what I was baking. So all this led to the conception of this tiny little kitchen that I now call my baby.
Wow, that's awesome. So, apart from your baking course that you've done from London, what is your educational background?
So until 12th grade, I was in Gitanjali. From
Okay.
nursery to 12th grade, it was an ICSE school. I studied all my life. I was a nerd, a topper in school. And I thought, like any other Indian kid, especially because I belong to a conventional school, I'd maybe do a CA or a law course, right?
Right.
But my parents saw in me a very professional and passionate baker. I used to bake as a hobby, but that was nothing, nowhere close to something I ever imagined that would be my, profession, or I would say my career in future. My parents were the ones who inspired me and motivated me into giving this a shot, irrespective of whether it worked or not. They told me to try it since they saw that zeal in me. Rest is history.
Right. If not baking, what else do you think you would have done?
As ironical as it might sound, I also work out a lot in addition to the sweet stuff that I bake and eat. So probably I would be somewhere in the fitness or nutrition industry. So I'm a health and fitness freak as well.
So, what does baking mean to you, Tarik?
In one word, if you ask me, it's my therapy, my escape, my safe space. I bake, literally, I bake my emotions away. When I'm sad, I bake. When I'm happy, I bake. Yeah, therapy to me.
What is the range of products that you bake right now, and what is the kind of clientele you've got? Is it just B2B or is it B2C as well?
So we cater to both B2B and B2C. Many people do not know about our B2B because we don't market it very openly as we do our retail segment. And we recently entered into the B2B. I'm really young, so taking smaller steps. We only have 2 or 3 B2B clients, but the retail thing is a lot bigger, I would say. So we also specialize in egg-free desserts. That is our niche. So whatever we bake is egg-free because people who eat eggs also eat eggless food, or vegetarian, as you say. But the concept of eggless thing is huge in India.
Right.
And those who don't eat egg definitely do not eat in places that serve egg.
Of
So I
course.
thought, why not cater to a larger market and try this? It was challenging because some recipes are really complicated and it's hard to substitute the egg bit of it. COVID really helped me do all my trials, and I had my own set of failures, to which I finally launched.
Sure. Can you tell us why did you name it Mon A?
Yes. So Mon A means close to my soul. And since this is a passionate and dreamy project, if you see our logo also, it is not actually an Eiffel Tower. Many people confuse it to an Eiffel Tower. It is a combination of Big Ben and Eiffel Tower, which represents my journey as a baker. I learned in London, but my inspiration was Parisian desserts. So Eiffel Tower from Paris and the Big Ben from London. That is our logo. And behind the logo are clouds, which represent my dream. And Mon A, meaning my soul, because this project is close to my soul and the values that I have as a person. That's about it, about the logo and the brand.
How does a typical day look like for you?
So, in our language or in our work environment, weekends, holidays, and any other casual day for a normal person is a work day for us. And a work day or a hectic day for a normal, conventional working person is a chill day for us, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's start with the hectic. We usually pull off 12 hours, 14-hour shifts also on hectic days. For example, Diwali season was really mad rush at work. We'd start working anywhere between 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and sometimes 7 also, depending on the dispatch timings. If we have an early dispatch, we'd start work earlier. And then we are continuously working through the day, enjoying what we do. Even my team is as passionate as I am. I have thankfully found a team which is really, which loves, or who all the people love the work that they do here. So the environment is a really motivating and fun environment to work in. We don't even realize that by the end of the day, it's already 9, 10 p.m. We've been working for 12, 14 hours straight away. That is a hectic day for us. And if you'd ask me for a chill day, it would not be more, it would be a normal 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. sort of situation where we do a couple of trials. We also send across the samples of the trials that we do to a couple of our clients, take honest reviews, and we also do quality checks, clean the kitchen, do our own set of, hygiene protocols and things like that. If there's anything that needs to be updated, we do that, our inventories. That's a chill day for us.
Right.
So, what did pull you towards baking as a young kid?
Okay, so there is a lot of stigma about, I would say, such unconventional career path, even though we are in the 21st century. Many people still ask me, come up to me and ask me, I understand that you bake and you own a cloud kitchen, but what do you really do as a profession? Or is that the only thing that is your income source? So
Yeah.
I think the first step towards towards actually choosing this as your career is being open-minded about it and not let people convince you that it can't be a career option, right? Don't listen to what people have to say, listen to your heart and weigh out the pros and cons. Also, of course, you'll have to be practical about the kind of life that you want, and are you ready to commit to 12, 14 hours work shifts, or you like to bake only as a hobby? You ask all these questions to yourself and then finally take a call.
Right. And once you did take a call for yourself, how did you choose this place in London and how did you take it forward?
So I remember in 12th grade, having, like any other kid, having a discussion with my parents about my future, what I'd like to do. So it wasn't as glamorous as it sounds now. We had our own set of tiffs and fights in the family. And my parents were never those who'd enforce a particular type of career or a particular thing on me. They left it open to me. They put that on the table, put that in front of me, that
Okay.
baking could always be a thing that you could do since you do it so passionately. 9 to 10, they saw that I'm not amongst those people who do a 9 to 5 job and be happy with it or sit in a place. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, but it is not something that I would enjoy doing because I've been an active kid and I like to be on my feet, use my brain in 100 different places rather than, doing the same monotonous thing every day. So they put these things in front of me, and they also told me that, I could be a lawyer if this doesn't work, but I should definitely try baking. So I sort of started researching on a couple of chefs, looked up on their backdrops, where they got educated, how they moved forward, and their stories sort of inspired me. A couple of them, I would say many famous chefs of the world, and especially India, since I wanted to come back to India only after my education. So I had to focus on things that would be relevant to me. So chefs from the country, including Chef Anahita Dhondi, Pooja Dhingra. I focused in female chefs because I'm also a female, so I could resonate more with them and their journeys, right?
Right.
So that's about it. And about the college in London, I looked up on a couple of places, the kind of courses they offered. So I narrowed down to Le Cordon Bleu, Savor, and a couple of them. But I resonated the most with the course and the methodology that was used by Le Cordon Bleu. They believe in teaching you the basics and leaving the complicated stuff to you. They do not spoon feed you here. They
Right.
just teach you ABC, and making words and paragraphs was something that we were supposed to do on our own. We were never ever taught fancy stuff that you see on Instagram feeds of famous chefs. Trust me on that. Nothing that we were taught there could be sold here or
Of course.
in any restaurant as such because they were all basics.
Yeah.
We were not even given machines. Everything was done by hand, including melting of chocolate or kneading the dough.
In the industry you're working, what do you think is one of the most important personality trait to have?
I would say, as a chef, number one, I would say you should always have the willingness to learn. Nobody has reached the best stage of their life. There's always something or the other to learn. I see many people, I don't want to pick names, but once they've achieved a certain amount of success, they think they've reached the top of the world and there's nothing else that they can learn. But you should always be open to learning and experimenting so that you can also, as a service provider or as someone who's providing products to people, provide them with new things rather than stagnating your business. The ones who work under me, I accept them for their willingness to learn more than their existing skills.
And how about it as an owner?
There are There are many things I would say. Number one, the first challenge that I faced when I started out was introducing an unconventional product to a rather stubborn Indian market. Took me a lot of time to convince people that, you know, desserts are more than just mithai that we eat. I mean, I love my mithai too,
Right.
but people were not back then when I started, they were not open to trying these kind of desserts and different flavors.
Yeah.
Must say they've changed a lot and they're open to trying all sorts of things, and now I don't struggle with it as much. But initially, I did struggle a lot. Yeah, and also about the constant, retaining of the manpower. Ours is an all-women kitchen, so the
Okay.
struggles that women face in general because of the mentality of the people around them and the families that they belong to, they're not permitted to work, or their families get them married, so they have to continue with their families. Retaining the manpower and leadership skills, these are very important, and creating a work environment where people want to work with you, being a friend to your employees rather than being a boss.
Of course, that is how probably get the best out of them.
Yeah, our work environment, you come to our workplace once, Subhash, and you totally like feel like it's a party space where people are enjoying what they're doing. We're all having fun, cracking jokes while working.
Of course, I can expect that. So, when did you start Mon A, and how would you describe your journey till date?
It started in the lockdown. It was COVID and boredom. I did a couple of trials, and I used to just make people try, not as a business, but eventually they were the ones. I saw its success and the reviews of people, which made me actually start a brand and reach out to more people. So in 2020, we launched Mon A, and now it's about to hit 2 years. In February, going to be hitting 2 years.
What are the other challenges that you faced during this journey?
So number one was, like I told you, retention of manpower. But before that, even before the retention bit, I struggled to find manpower in general because there were very few female chefs in this industry. And that was when I questioned to myself as to why is there such a lack of female chefs. And then I interviewed a couple of employees, potential employees who had come to me to give their interviews. And the first thing they told me was that this industry is not meant for females because people just have this perception that a 12-hour, 14-hour shift is something that a female can't pull off. That was when I decided that, you know, I should be giving more opportunities to all these females
Right.
who just don't get the chance there because of the mentality in general of people.
Of-
Why can't we do it? Right. And of course, in the middle of COVID, since we started, there was shortage of raw materials. So we had to, we really struggled to find raw materials. There were times when we arranged for raw materials from across India, not only Hyderabad. So the courier used to take a week, 10 days to come. We had to plan a lot more advanced planning was required, at least at that point of time.
Yeah.
And I think just the lockdown ending helped us. We couldn't do anything about that situation personally, except a lot of planning and organizing. I mean, it's a harsh reality in general. It's a sad, harsh reality. But whenever I talk to any vendor or anyone and I tell them that I'm the owner, the first thing they ask me is, can you please can you please pass on the phone to the owner or the sir? Because they assume that a woman and a young girl can't own a business. So it's really challenging that way for me as an owner to communicate to them that I'm actually doing this. They're literally like, sir se baat karwaiye ma'am. That's quote unquote their word
Right.
when I talk to them.
For people who don't know what gourmet desserts are, can you quickly tell them what gourmet desserts are and how do you approach with creating each one of them?
Okay, interesting question, Subash. So basically, when I got back from London and saw the dessert scene in Hyderabad, there were not many people who were actually doing gourmet desserts, right?
Right.
And to me, a gourmet dessert is one which is a melody of flavors, quality ingredients, and aesthetics. I found very few desserts in Hyderabad that ticked all three boxes. There were desserts that looked good but didn't taste good. There were desserts that tasted good but didn't look good. Or there were desserts that actually looked extremely good, but the quality of the raw materials was really bad.
Right.
And it's a very common practice in the industry that people try to make their products look good, but the thing on the inside, the quality is so bad, it's just not even worth the money. So the customer does not even feel like he's spent his money on the right thing.
Yeah.
There's no value for money for the client. So that was my biggest thing that I focused on when developing my desserts, that it should be a value for money for the clients when they try it. It should be worth the money that they pay for it, even if it's a significantly higher price than what they would ideally pay for a cake.
Of course.
Right? So I worked worked through it and worked through a couple of unique flavor profiles and desserts. That's how I launched my menu. Also, I believed in quality over quantity. So my menu, if you go through it, it's very limited. All of them are tried and tested, extremely good quality, refined products. So that was my main objective. I didn't want to overwhelm people with a huge menu.
Of
Even for
course.
them to be able to make a choice, they should have a limited choice.
So, what's your approach right now? As I see, you have multiple seasonal specialities that you keep launching. What is your approach that you take through the year? How do you plan on it?
So I believe in using seasonal produce that is available locally, so that I get to promote even the local vendors. I support the local vendors also.
Yeah.
So my menu is planned according to the seasons and what is prevalent and what would give people a new thing to try, or just a new chance to try a new thing, I would say, to reframe it, right? So that's how I develop my menu, and it's not as easy as it sounds. I spend a lot of time. There are a number of desserts that I've created in my dream. Like literally, I've dreamt of them, and next day try them in the kitchen, and it works. So I dream of desserts. That's how passionate I am about my menu and things that I launch. I'd sit through it for a week, 10 days, do a million trials until I'm 100% satisfied with it that I launch. There are many ideas that I've actually not even launched yet because I'm still not satisfied with the recipe and the outcome.
Mhm.
So I take my own sweet time before I'm 100% sure that it's worth people's money, time, and effort to try. So it's a long process, and I also sketch my dessert. So that is also one of the steps, many steps that I follow before launching my dessert. Yeah, and also sleep dreaming if that
Of course.
counts.
If there is one thing you want to be remembered for, what do you think that should, other than desserts?
Okay, nice question. So, at some point in my life, I really want to teach people the skills that I've learned
Okay.
and my journey in general, what I have learned through my journey, the art of baking, do something for the society. So, I want to eventually get into teaching and delivering, providing my skills to the world. That's one of the things that I want to be remembered for, in addition to being a good baker.
What are the other ideas you have for Mon A in the future?
In addition to teaching, I see Mon A number one rebranding. We are going through a little bit of a rebranding. So
Okay.
by June next year, probably, we are planning to relaunch in a bigger space so that we also have a studio in place where we can teach people. Right now, our setup is pretty tiny, so it does not give me enough space to call people over and teach them the skill. So that is one. Number two is also a healthy menu in store. We've been doing a gazillion trials of the healthy menu, and we've gotten really positive reviews for many of the products. So once the rebranding and we move to a new studio happens, we also plan to launch the healthy menu. So these are the 2-3 things on my to-do list for next year.
So, Tarini, what are few of the rules or mantras that you personally believe in and you live with every day?
So, one mantra that really helps me is one day at a time, one step at a time. Approach each day as a new day. Just accept the struggles as they come, deal with the problems, and come up with solutions without thinking too much about what is tomorrow, day after. One day at a time is what I would say.
Do you have any suggestions for people who want to join your industry?
Yeah, definitely. You should go for it. Don't let people convince you that this can't be a career option. It can definitely be something. If you really love to bake, you are okay with the pros as well as the cons, because nothing is going to be 100% pros without any cons, right? Weigh the
Of
pros and
course.
cons for yourself. And if you're prepared for the cons, and of course, if you love baking, go for it.
For someone who dreams of desserts and empowers a workplace full of women, it was a pleasure speaking to you, Tarini. Thank you for joining us today.
Likewise, Subhash, thank you so much for inviting me over. It was a really nice, fun experience for me to speak, put myself out there, which I actually rarely do, trust me. So it was really nice.
Have a great week ahead and wait for my next podcast with another remarkable guest.
Please do subscribe and share our podcast and do join us on this journey of learning.